Coming in at number 5 on our 2023 NHL Draft rankings, it's the Fresh Prince of Massachusetts. It's Will Smith, who is going to Boston College next year in Pilsy, not before he put up point after point after point after point after point with the U.S. National Team Development Program.
Yeah, this kid put up big numbies last year with the U.S. team. I mean, 50 games played, 61 goals. Oh, wait, do I have that flipped, actually?
You have it at 60 games.
Yeah, I have it flipped. Okay. 60 games played, 51 goals, 76 assists for 127 points. This kid is really good. Like, there's no denying it, and he deserves to be in the conversation in that top 5. And Ross, we'll get to it later, but we noticed there's a considerable drop-off between where scouts rank the top 5 players and then the drop-off after that. It's very clear to most people that the top 5 is set. Now, where they'll end up can change, or depending on your opinion, you'll have different guys in different spots, but this is a centerman. He's a right shot. He's got good size at 6 feet, 181 pounds, and he's committed to Boston College next year. I mean, this guy has so many makings of just a classic American great prospect.
It's so smooth watching him play. You look at all the highlights of him, he's just making things so easy for his line mates. Like, just sets them up brilliantly. I just love the way that he controls the play from the middle of the ice. I think he's going to be a fantastic playmaking center at the National Hockey League level, and just the kind of guy who's your first guy out on the power play. And it's just a matter of, like, what's it going to be like at 5-on-5 right away? Like, I don't have much doubt that he's going to be an absolute stud at 5-on-5 eventually. It's just like compared to the guys in this bracket. We talked about Michkov. There's going to be a wait, but when he gets there, it's going to be an immediate impact. The top 3 we discussed, all centermen, all guys who we see stepping in and making an immediate impact. I think it's great he's going to Boston College. Look, Cutter Gauthier is going back, 5th overall pick from last year. And not only that, Pilsy, Will Smith is bringing both of his line mates from the U.S. junior team program with him to Boston College. So are they just going to plop and have like a freshman line? They're just going to grab, place, and just let them do their thing? Because in that case, the chemistry is already going to be locked in. Now, will there also be a growing pain of having to go up against a new age category, playing against 22-year-olds, that whole thing? Yeah, sure, maybe. But when you see the talent, Will Smith and Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault, those were his 2 line mates there at the U.S. program, what they were able to accomplish is nothing short of exceptional. And there's always that late riser when it comes to the U.S. program. Last year, it was Cutter Gauthier. There was also Jake Sanderson in 2020. There was in 2021. Why am I'm missing on it right now?
McTavish?
No, McTavish wasn't at the program.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No, and it wasn't, it wasn't Beniers either. It was probably Tyler Boucher, actually, if we're talking about
no kidding.
Of where they were based on that. But you look at just this program consistently puts out great players. And with Will Smith, you just see him as, we almost have to do 2 profiles here, Pilsy, because last year, all my 5-star guys went to the Montreal Canadiens. And don't you just see him going to the Montreal Canadiens?
I really do. I mean, the average ranking for him is 5th. The Montreal Canadiens are picking at 5. They need centerman. He's a centerman. I've already kind of decided in my mind he's going there. But what's interesting about Will Smith, and I referenced David St. Louis already in the film room study. He did another great job on Will Smith here. And the one thing that he really notes is that Smith does this thing where he likes to pull the puck back towards his hip, almost like that's all he does. That's how he starts everything he does in the offensive zone, because that does a couple things. First off, you're pulling the puck away from defenders. So it's a way to protect the puck from defenders that are attacking you. They have to do a longer poke check, or they have to be quicker to try to get at you. But now you've got 3 options. Once you've pulled it back, you can either load up a wrister where you can have a lot of power onto that. You can fake a wrister and pass it off, or you can set up an inside and out deke, much like Michkov loves to do those dekes. So what he'll do is he'll pull that puck back, and then he'll wait for the defender to bite one way. So if the defender's like, oh crap, he's got a wrister, I'm going to set up for a block. Oh, that's easy. Now you're stationary and I'll just get around you. I'm not going to shoot that now. Or if he's like, oh, he's pulling it back because he's going to try a deke. Oh, well, now you've opened up and I can shoot it through you and use you as a screen. So doing this, and if you watch his highlights and knowing this, like, you can really pick up on it. Like, right away, once a defender has the gap on him, he resorts to that, pulling it back to his hip. And it's something that some players do sometimes, but he does it so often. He's mastered this. And I love St. Louis uses the quote from Bruce Lee: don't fear the man that's practiced 10,000 moves once. Fear the man that's practiced one move 10,000 times, because Will Smith is an expert at this, and he's dominating kids in the junior level. Now, will NHL teams and defenders pick up on this and learn how to defend against it? Most likely. So he's going to have a couple more bags of tricks up his sleeve. But for now, it's a really good skill, and it really allows him to have creativity and use different options at any given time.
He was invited to USA World Junior Camp, but was cut. I think he'll be a huge part of that team this upcoming year, averaging over 2 points per game in his final year at the program. He also was named MVP at the World Under-18 Hockey Championships. Pilsy, is 20 points in 7 games good?
Yes.
Second in scoring, Gabe Perreault, his line mate, 18 points. Third in scoring, Ryan Leonard, his other line mate, was 17 points in scoring. They were plus 15, 15, and 16 respectively in 7 games at this tournament. They are a complete wagon of a line, but it's Will Smith that drives that line. And also, Gabe Perreault, you think about that. This is how long we've been doing this, Pilsy. The older brother of Gabe Perreault is also a guy who we profiled a couple of years ago in this whole thing as well. So with that, and the son of Yannick Perreault, former NHL, longtime NHLer. So born in Quebec, but an American by like Jake Sanderson, right? Same type of thing there. However, when you're talking about Will Smith, you can't do so without mentioning what the scouts are saying about Will Smith. Craig Button says he's one of those players that's got a real subtle excellence to him, whereas Corey Pronman goes out and says he has tremendous puck skills, vision, and overall offensive creativity, and projects to be a major asset on an NHL power play. Pilsy, how long do you think the wait will be before Will Smith really bounces onto the scene in the NHL?
I think for sure he will go to Boston College. So there's 1 year. I wouldn't doubt it if we see him 2 years at college even. I just think, like, yes, there's a lot of great things, but there are some classic junior things he has to deal with. And I reference it, like him being so good at that. Like, guys are going to figure that out. Guys are going to get faster, bigger, stronger, etc. So he's going to have to work on some different things. But also, Ross, this is a player that plays with a lot of confidence. He loves having the puck on his stick, and he loves making moves to try to create offense. However, he does turn the puck over a fair share of times when he's trying to do those risky passes. And in junior, and when you're on the U.S. team, that's not a big deal because you got 4 other first rounders playing on a line with on the ice with you at any given time, so they can mop up any mistakes. But as he goes on and starts developing, he's going to need to figure out a way where he's not giving the puck away so often, even if it means, Ross, not pulling off a highlight reel play and sometimes just dump and chase or just getting the puck on net simply. Like, he's going to have to learn how to calculate the risk versus reward stuff a little bit better, and I think he will. So I would say 2 years at college, that's probably where I'd have him. But who knows?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was going to go with it. Maybe even a year in the AHL, being that top line center, because he's not the kind of guy you don't want to limit his creativity with putting him on the wing. I don't think that's the play. We didn't even love that when Stützle was doing for too long, but where he's an 18-year-old, whereas if he does 2 years of college, then he's 20. Like, look at the path Logan Cooley's taking right now. I see it very similar, right? They're both the top line center from their age group at the program. He comes out, Logan Cooley has a great freshman year at Minnesota. Now, I think a part of him going back is the arena's bigger in college at Minnesota than it is in the NHL in Arizona. But I also think there's going to be some merit to him going back, and just the defensive side of the game. It's tough. Like, look at we talked about this as a Sens podcast with Norris and Stützle, but Will Smith, if he's going to come into the NHL and be a top 6 centerman, he's in the same division as some pretty elite NHL centermen, and it's going to be tough for him to really step in and be that contributing guy on both ends of the ice. So it's whether, if you're the Habs, right, you don't really have any desire to win next year. So are you okay with him being a -30, but still putting up 25 to 35 points maybe even 35 is probably more
If
of
he jumps to the NHL, you're talking about?
not this year. We know he's going to, I'm talking about 1 year beyond this.
Okay.
I think it'd be better for him, better for his confidence. This Boston College team seems like it's going to be a wagon over the next couple of years. I think it'd be smart for him to do 2 years in college, see where he's at. But when he makes the jump, man, I'm convinced that he's going to be able to kind of twist in and put a few extra moves into his bag, like you were saying. So I'm not so worried about that. And like you said, he'll always have that 1A+ move that he can keep going back to and create offense, not only for himself, but this guy's going to create offense and make a lot of his line mates very rich wherever he goes.
The only thing with Will Smith, Ross, is I think for him to have success, he's going to need a guy that can. He's going to need a sniper on one side of his wing because he needs someone that he can set up. But I think he's also going to need a defensively responsible forward, a two-way guy, because as I was mentioning with him giving the puck away with risky passes, he's also not a defense first kind of minded guy. Now, most high skilled players in junior aren't, but there's a lot of times where he's leaving the zone way too early. He's, cherry picking outside the blue line a little bit more than he should be. He's out of position, trying to be open to be sprung for a breakaway. So it's things like that maybe you can't have all offense. So if we're talking about him going to the Habs, maybe him and Cole Caulfield on the same line together isn't great for your defensive game. So that's interesting. But I think there's so many things to like about Will Smith that the minor defensive and turnovers that he's doing are outweighed by his great offensive talent.
He put up the second most points at the national team development program all time, behind his line mate, Gabe Perreault.
I was going to say, yeah.
127 points. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's see if he can get those physical advantages that he doesn't have right now. That's really where he needs to take the next step, is just getting stronger, bigger, and with that comes patience. So Will Smith comes in at number 5, rightfully so, on the Locked On Senators 2023 NHL Draft rankings.